We paint garage doors and make up.
Hello, everyone on YouTube. How you doing? That's not it. I want to go live on TikTok as well. Discard.
Up to $2,000.
It won't let me go live anymore on TikTok.
A day.
Let me see. I'm going to try one more time because I'm here. I appreciate you guys on YouTube waiting for a second. I'm so happy to be here. Here we go. Checking live. Okay, here I am. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on Facebook, and I'm live on Instagram. I'd love to go live on TikTok, but might not happen. Let me see. I'll give it one more second. Plus, live, go live. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. James Baker, CPA here. I'm live on TikTok. I'm live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you're not following me on all of them, you should, because it helps me, and that's really great. And I'm here to help you guys right now. So if you don't know who I am an international tax CPA. I'm a US-based CPA, but I focus on cross-border transactions. And on the call today, I'm here to answer all of your questions and answer the questions that I've gotten during the week, and also the questions that I'm getting live now. So if you guys have questions you would like to ask your CPA or a tax expert, especially a cross-border transactional tax expert, like how do I invest in another country, those kind of things, that's really what I specialize in. So if you're interested in that stuff, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go through some of the questions that I've already gotten so that I can answer those, because I've been getting questions during the week and I'm getting questions all the time, and I want to answer your questions for you. So I already have 83 people in TikTok that have joined. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to go through my list and answer some of these questions. Sorry that the camera is shaking for the TikTok. What's up, guys? Okay. So the first question I have here, are there any reliable exchanges for an LLC to invest in cryptocurrencies? So what exchange can your LLC open, and is it reliable? I'm not going to comment on reliability because I've recommended FTX before. FTX had a really great software and it had a good exchange that worked. Unfortunately, the owners behind it were stealing everyone's money. I didn't know that. No one knew that. Their exchange, the software in their exchange was nice and it worked, but it just, they were robbing everyone, which is criminal, and it's terrible, and hopefully they get punished for the crimes they've committed. To answer the question, what are new reliable exchanges? So if you need to convert fiat to crypto or crypto to fiat, that's where you'll need a real exchange. I recommend DeFi exchanges for the majority of your stuff, but if you really need to convert crypto to fiat, you need to have a real exchange. It doesn't necessarily need to be custodial, but it needs to be some kind of exchange mechanism. And the Coinbase is probably the best one. It's covered by the most regulations in the US. If you can use Coinbase, it's probably the easiest. I wouldn't leave a lot of money in there, but I would use it for converting crypto to fiat. A lot of clients use Kraken. I've used Kraken before, Kraken. Crypto.com, I believe, still works. Binance is probably the biggest and the one that most people use. However, for LLCs, it is a very slow and difficult process to get registered. I don't know why it's so hard, but for me, who does this professionally, it's been very difficult for me to get this all set up. And they ask for just a lot of information. Let me angle this a little better. So they ask for a lot of information on Binance. So Binance doesn't work that well. But you can try it and you can do it. Most of this is trial and error. I wouldn't leave a lot of money on any custodial exchanges, and I would just use it for converting fiat to crypto. However, there's other offline exchanges you can do that with as well. They're just not as reliable. And I did one crypto call with my client and friend Max. We did it last Monday. We went live. We made some stuff there. I think we're going to try and do that Monday nights. I've been traveling, so I wasn't able to do it with him. And then we had the holidays and stuff. But I think we're going to get back into it to do it on Monday nights and just answer, speculate on crypto, answer questions that people have, and, give as much financial side advice as we can, not technical stuff, because I think most of the technical stuff is useless for most people anyways, because we don't really even know. I mean, at least for me, if you give me too much technical stuff, I'm lost. Great. So I have a question from Marco. and he's on YouTube. He says, "Hi, James. As a foreign single-member LLC owner, is sending money to my father a 5472 reportable transaction?" And technically, the answer is yes. He's a related party. He's your father. I don't know if cousins are considered related parties, but any lineal descendants, fathers, grandparents, children, grandchildren, are generally, in almost every circumstance, a related party. So you would indeed include that on one of the Form 5472. So really what it is you'll have the 1120 and you'll have multiple Forms 5472 connected to the same 1120. So it shouldn't be much more work for you, just in one extra form. And the first page is basically going to still be the same. So thanks for asking that question. That's a great question. Really good question here. Do I need an ITIN to open an account with Interactive Brokers? And the answer is no, you don't need an ITIN to open an account with Interactive Brokers. You don't need an ITIN to open a bank account, and you don't need an ITIN to you don't need sorry, I get distracted by TikTok. I don't know what that noise is. If you're on TikTok and you hear a noise, it's not from me. Okay, so do I need an ITIN to open an account with Interactive Brokers? And the answer is no, you don't need an ITIN for Interactive Brokers. You don't need an ITIN to open a bank account, and you don't need an ITIN to really open anything except for a PayPal account and potentially a credit card, depending on if you have actual credit built up with your your ITIN, your number. So you don't need an ITIN to open an account with Interactive Brokers. You do need a lot of other information. You need a U.S. address. You need different. You need the EIN number. They need to confirm your residency. There's a lot of stuff you need to do with these applications. They can be complicated, but you do not need an ITIN. Next question, number 3. We have okay, nothing on any of here. If you guys have questions in the chats, feel free to let me know. Hey, Brio, thanks for the comment. Yes, here his question is not a question, but how can I grow my e-commerce business with a foreign-owned single-member LLC with using an LLC? And the way you grow your business is by being able to accept all your payments, being able to control your money, and lowering your local income taxes. And those are actually huge things. You can also brand in the U.S. You have access to better software in the U.S. Depending on where you're from, it's easier to pay for ads. There's a lot, and there's different. It might be easier to make brand affiliations. There's a lot of stuff you can do differently when you have this structure that can really help your business. So good luck to you. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos, and let me know if you have other questions. One thing that isn't clear. Do I pay tax with Form 5472 as a foreign-owned single-member LLC owner? And the answer is no. There's no tax associated with this form. There's no manner to calculate or pay a tax. It is a purely informational filing, so there's no tax to pay. Okay. And here's another question I had, which might be the same question. How should I declare money movements to my family members using my LLC? And it's the same as I said before. It would be a separate Form 5472 filing for each of the payments to family members. Technically, that's the right way to do it. And you have to just disclose the IRS how much you paid them. Question 4. If I have a company in a European country where I will only pay 10% tax, can that company own the company in the U.S. and thus the profits pass to the European company? Yes, that's generally how it works. If you have a company offshore or anywhere and it owns an LLC, the LLC from a U.S. tax perspective is a pass-through entity. So the results pass to the owner, or the entity that owns it, or the person or entity that owns it. However, I'm not sure what the local laws are in that country. What happens is in certain countries like Canada, for example, the LLC is not a pass-through entity. So if a Canadian has an LLC, it doesn't pass through to them directly. Whereas in other countries like Spain, it does. If you have an LLC, it does pass to you directly. So it depends on the country you're from. It depends on the rules of that country. And that's why we're working through. I'm trying to move forward on scheduling these interviews with these attorneys, but I've been super busy and traveling. Just opened up my office in Wyoming. I'm very excited about it. It was really fun to go hang out in Wyoming for a couple days. Okay. My question is number 5 we have here. If I have a U.S. LLC with a foreign owner and I decide to sell to the UK or European countries, do I charge VAT on taxes from the customers there? How do I pay back the collected taxes to the respective government? Thanks in advance. This is a tough question that I need to figure out the answer to for my clients because I don't know how that works in Europe. I don't know who pays it and how they pay it. Generally, it's charged when you're buying stuff. But I believe it operates similar to sales tax. I just don't know how you register and pay for it in the UK, or I mean, not in the UK, but in the EU, because I just don't know. I don't never. That's not my jurisdiction. I'm in the US. I know sales taxes. So stay tuned. That's something I have to dig into with my colleagues from other countries, and we're going to do some talks about that. And that's Danny, save that one because that's a good one that we need to do a whole study on and how to and share that with everybody. Give me a thumbs up if you like if you think I should do that, if you need that would be helpful, and I'll definitely do it. Okay. Oh, great point. Here's a point from Brio. What will happen with the form 1099K with non-US residents? What is the point of all these forms if the IRS doesn't take your money? Well, the point of the 1099K is to show the IRS how much sales have gone through to a specific entity or a specific person. And I've had the IRS contact a client of mine because they got a 1099K, and I told them that it's a foreign-owned single-member LLC and they have no U.S. trade or business. And the IRS was like, okay. And that was the end of the discussion. So the IRS doesn't always contact people, but they just like having more information. And this is an easy bit of information. Luckily for you and for all of my clients, it doesn't really change the calculation of whatever tax you have to pay. It's still pretty straightforward, and you're still only paying taxes on your U.S. Trade or business. So if you have a real U.S. business. Question 6. I have a single member LLC and I'm a contractor for a U.S. company. Do I need to complete the W-9 form or WIBEN? You need to complete the WIBEN form as a foreign person with an LLC. So that's a great question, but that's a simple answer. You need to complete the WIBEN form. I've done it on the channel a number of times. It's actually really easy form. It's really just it's like one page. It's all your basic data. So there's not that much to it. So I would recommend just giving it a shot. Send it to them. The form doesn't actually go to the IRS. The form just goes to your employer, and they just hold it internally. Question 7. When I created my LLC, I put the same address, California one, as the LLC address as my address. I realized it's actually wrong because I'm a non-resident, and my company was created as disregarded. Do you think I should change this ASAP? I'm thinking that could be a problem as I could be considered by the taxman as a U.S. resident. Well, you can have a U.S. address that you're using for your company. I would generally avoid California if you're not doing anything in California, especially because it's expensive and it just doesn't it's just extra costs for no reason. That's really it. So I would not use California, but it's not a huge deal. Just using a U.S. address does not subject you to U.S. income taxes. It's more facts and circumstances driven. Question 8. As a Spanish owner of a non-resident LLC, can I have as a client another non-resident LLC based in Argentina or Spain and not paying taxes in the U.S., or would that be considered having clients in the U.S.? That's a great question. You can have an LLC and you can pay all your money to other LLCs, and it's not U.S. trade or business. What's considered of having a U.S. trade or business is being in the U.S. delivering services or having a physical presence in the U.S. You can have U.S. clients without paying U.S. taxes. So if all your clients are U.S. companies and they pay you 100% from U.S. companies where you make all your money, you still don't have to pay taxes in the U.S. if you have no U.S. trade or business. So it doesn't matter if you have clients in the U.S. as long as you don't have U.S. trade or business. That's what I really want to harp on there. So I have a comment here, a question here about crypto. One thing I don't understand about crypto and staking is how it works. What does this mean? You're at risk of your coins being devalued by doing so. So I got a question. I guess it's, what is crypto staking and what is staking? Staking is just basically like putting your money in an account and getting interest. So if you stake, which is you put you buy this coin and you put it in this pile, and it's some other people have it, they give you X% return on the ability to use those coins, just like a regular bank pays interest. And what I'm talking about is the devaluation, is that when you have your money in a U.S. bank account and you're getting paid interest for what what you have in the account, the currency is U.S. dollars. But when you're doing this with crypto, your currency is some crazy cryptocurrency that whose value can change every day. So if you buy $1,000 worth of Ethereum and then you stake it immediately, you make 15% of the Ethereum. And let's say your Ethereum is worth $1,000, you bought one Ethereum. Well, if you're making 14% on that, great. You're not making $140 a year or a month, depending on how they compound it. You're making that equivalent of Ethereum. So if the value of Ethereum cuts in half, you still lost half your money. You're just making a 14% on a $500 base deposit instead of on a $1,000 base deposit, because the value of the deposit goes up and down. So that's the risk of staking, is that you're ultimately investing in a very volatile asset. But you can buy treasury bonds. That means you're basically investing in the U.S. government existing. So those are safer, but they generally have a lower return. But the reason these things have higher returns is because they're risky, and we're seeing how risky they are because so many of them are flopping. Don't mean to laugh. Okay, next question. Thank you very much for your video. I became a U.S. naturalized citizen last year. I inherited land and building from my father 20 years before I got citizenship. Furthermore, I want to sell the property and bring the money to the U.S. If total property is valued at more than $2 million in Bangladesh, do I have to pay taxes on the sale? Will this be considered inherited property in the U.S. even though I inherited it becoming a U.S. citizen? So this is where U.S. pre-immigration planning is super important. If you would have talked to me before becoming naturalized, I would have said put that property inside of an LLC, and that will step up the basis to the current market value, so that you'd have all the property in some kind of, it doesn't have to be an LLC, but in some kind of entity, so the legal basis is stepped up. Then you can sell it with very minimal gain. But right now you have a property, and if you inherited it 20 years ago and you want to say that the value was 20 million, then I mean it's a little more aggressive, because what's happening is you are, the problem is it probably wasn't worth 2 million back then. It is now. So you technically, if you went to the IRS agent and did your taxes with the IRS, they'll say, what was the value 20 years ago? What's the value now? You have to pay tax on that gain now. That's why generally with planning, it's so important to do pre-immigration tax planning, especially when you have appreciated assets. We could have done something to step up the basis, because to make it the value as of when you became a U.S. citizen. But by not doing anything different, you didn't really step up the value. So you definitely have to pay taxes on the sale of this, and it will be considered inherited property, but the value of the property is going to be what it was at the day you received it. So it's $2 million selling price less the value when you got it. Let's say it was $1 million. So you'll have a $1 million long-term capital gain. And there's different ways we can report this, but really the mistake was not stepping up the basis. You should schedule a call and we can go over it and see if there's maybe something else we can do to, mitigate these taxes we're talking about. It's $200,000 of taxes in that example. It's pretty high. Brio has another question. What do you think of Inc. file for setting up your LLC as a non-resident? Does using their address or virtual address count as being a U.S. trade or business? That would not count as using a U.S. trade or business. I can't tell you what other companies do with your data or your information, or what they try and sell you. These companies like InkFile and LegalZoom, and they get your email address, they get your information, and I don't know what they're going to be selling. I don't know what they're going to be using your information for. So I would recommend you. We have a low cost option as well for creating companies that we just launched and came up with. I'm finishing the landing page for it, like an automated kind of option like that, where we get the EIN number and we get the company for you, and send you all the recommended bank accounts and all that stuff. That's going to be launched soon. You should send us an email because we obviously have the function to do it. We're just setting up the tech on the outside, but I would recommend working with us on that. We will keep your information private, and and I'm also going to give you my courses on how to file the tax forms yourself in case you want to know how to do that. So I think can be a pretty sweet deal. So send us an email, support@jamesbakercpa.com, and I'm happy to share that offer with you. But that's all I have for English questions right now. I'm going to switch to my Spanish YouTube channel, I think. Oh, we have one more. Why don't we get that question, Danny? Okay, if I have an LLC with an active account in Kraken and I move my money from my LLC to Kraken to buy Bitcoin, what happens to the tax return? I don't know what they mean. Should I pay taxes or declare my crypto investment in it? From an accounting standpoint, if you buy cryptocurrencies, you're basically moving. Oh, sorry, I bumped into my shaking everything. You're basically moving your balance sheet from cash to crypto. So it's all staying as an asset on the balance sheet. It's just changing the classification of the asset on your balance sheet. So that's how it works. If you want, I know a lot of people in Spain are like just buying crypto so they can call it a business expense, and then at the end of the year, and then they're just like reporting it as expense and picking up no income in Spain. Whatever you want to do in your home country, that's fine. In the U.S., if you just buy cryptocurrencies, it's not an expense until you pay someone to do something with the cryptocurrency that you have. So it's not really an expense. But Brio, I would love to hear from you. Everyone else, thank you for being here. Sorry, it's going to be a short meeting today, just 20 minutes. I answered all my questions. I have to go to my Spanish channel because I do have a hard stop today, and I started a little late. But I'm happy to be on live, helping you guys out. Hopefully you got a little bit of value from the short video. And if you have any questions, stay tuned. I'm gonna stay online for you guys on Instagram. I don't think anyone's actually in the call. And for TikTok, which started out hot, and now it's down to 2 people here who probably dropped their phones. Okay, see you, YouTube.